Hello everybody, Anthony is here, and originally I thought I would make this watch for 12 million voxels, but in the end it turned out to be quite a bargain, and I finished it up in only around 6 million. So let's get started, and I'll show the whole process in the timelapse with my commentary on top, and I hope you find it useful. So I'll start with the cylinder, make it more or less the shape of the watch, and then I increased the cylinder to 1.5 million voxels and applied it to the layer, and then started doing it. So this particular time lapse is recorded at 4 times this normal speed, so it's 4x. So going to be pretty fast. So here I turned on the symmetry, so I have like 32 symmetrical points. And I was trying to do this, starting to experiment with watch patterns because I had no idea what I'm going to do. And you can see I'm using the box hide. So every time I'm pressing control and drawing a rectangular shape, I can unhide stuff. Pretty much my most favorite tool in the whole 3D code, right? So here I changed my radial symmetry to like 8 because I thought that there was way too many, the 32. And now I'm just trying to find some funky shapes to work with, doing different angle cuts from different camera angles. And here I was already thinking about some type of screw ports that I could screw my guys in. And bear in mind, I have like a lot of, I obviously like gathered like more than 100 watches to look at. I was looking more at like these brutal designs that we usually made like for racing type watches, like Ferrari or whatever. My design is completely original. Haven't seen anything like that, and I wasn't really aiming to do anything like I've seen before. I mean, it would have been kind of pointless. So this is really trying to do something new. And I didn't have like this idea in mind making a watch that's really kind of useful to look at. I was like, okay, I just want to make something looking cool. And if you look at these modern watches, it's pretty hard to tell time looking at them. They have just a bunch of gouges and all this random stuff, which doesn't make much sense. All right, so here I made this star, and I'm trying to smooth it out. So my hotkey for that is F12. I'm smooth it, and you can see I have really nice blending around the holes. So now I'm doing this kind of cuts, somewhat rectangular cuts. And trying to unhide from the side. And hiding from the side allows me to build the structure inside. This one took me a while, actually. I think, and I now look at some of the shapes and I think, they look kind of cool. I wish they stayed there. But so this is obviously a pretty unpredictable process when you unhide from the side. I don't know what I am going to get. I have kind of an idea. I'll get some kind of pattern, but you never know. I would say the resolution here is a bit low for the whole model. I wanted to increase the resolution, so right now it's like 1 million for the piece. However, the moment you increase it, if you increase it to 3 million, and I tried that, it starts to slow down quite a bit drastically. So I decided that, okay, whatever, I'll just do at the level that is comfortable for me. Because end of the day, if you look at the watch closely, the final render, I mean, a lot of stuff there is not good. Like, really, it's more of a concept. If I wanted to actually say order some CNC milling, I was kind of thinking about it because I can, if I do a proper fusion design, create a STL file, I can drop it to some CNC milling and actually, use some cheap, like Chinese mechanical parts and build a watch like that. Would have been quite cool. I might think about that in future. And yeah, so it's really still a concept. So it's not too much point to go super high precision. However, I'm more of the guy who likes to do something in between, like that looks fairly finished, because a lot of people doing just sketching in 3D code, and I think I usually try to show that you can do more than just a really loose sketch. You can actually do something that looks fairly finished, gives a really good idea of the final product, and this is one of those type of sketches that look pretty good from the distance, and then if you start to look closely at different parts, they will be slightly melted here and there. And you see here, and this is just a raw design process. Like I have no idea of the final result, and I can spend a fair amount of time just hiding and trying a gazillion different shapes. Like that shape was pretty. Like this shape is really cool, right? And try a gazillion different shapes, and that try to figure out which is better. And constant angular hide and hide. So now this was actually a really important bit where I cut out this this part of the star. How to say, the rays of the star became no longer pointy but squarish. And probably there is a certain name for this type of design, like squarish design, whatever. Something sounds better because now it's all used all over in product design and car design. You can see here I was trying to do a cut that would match a cut on the left side, but I had to be quite creative about the camera angle because when you have symmetry on and you cut from the side, it will cut through everything. And I had to go and actually cut from the top and then unhide from the bottom. I think there will be more videos like that coming in the future because I really want to explore the product design side of these things inside 3D code. Again, people do a lot of stuff like sci-fi and robots and such, but doing something this small and interesting, like doing even like a cup, is something that I'm getting my interest on. So there'll be more coming. And you'll see me in the videos using a lot of radial symmetry, and honestly, this is just because I can get a impressive result really quick. If I'm using just the X symmetry or like 2 point symmetry or 4 point symmetry, then well, okay, 4 point symmetry I used as well a lot. 2 point symmetry is the slowest out of all of them. It will take the most time to get something done. But when you have like 8 point symmetry, you hide a few bits and then it's like, boo, done. You have a lot of impressive shapes. It's a bit of a cheat. So you can see I have a bunch of backup layers. So I'll go back to my original like, backup cylinder. So now I cut it off because what I'm trying to do, I want to do the glass. I think, yeah, here I want to do the glass for the star. Actually, quite curious if I could get a real glass like that, or would it be too brittle? Interesting. So I'm doing this really on a purpose. These particular shapes, I have a circle, so I'm not trying to make it to be squarish like the body below. Again, I think about it as a glass, and I think this is a great power of 3D code that when you assign materials, they look like the materials more or less like in real life. You can see I'm trying to do the render, and render doesn't look good. Like 3D code doesn't render it well. So yeah, so when you do stuff in 3D code, you assign the materials that look great, look way better than almost any other software. I think in Blender also does a pretty good job on displaying materials. But something like Maya, to be honest, ZBrush, really they have really poor display. And when you feel it, and then you like design accordingly. I think like and you feel this is like titanium or whatever, then you okay, you know that how it's going to bend it just innately, because if you've seen it on pictures and all over the place. When you put a glass material, then okay, you know how it's going to behave. You know that you can't really make super angular glass; it will pick everything and it will just shatter or whatever. See here, I'm just doing the base uh, for the for the watch, and I started again with the cylinder. I cut it out. I then tried different hide and hide operations to find the shape I would like. And again, trying to see stuff. Okay, so this is a bit more towards the final shape. Tried a bunch of them and I'm like, okay, this might be looking good. And I'm trying to use the move tool to push stuff down, but move tool wasn't working out well, so I used the pose tool with the brush settings. So I created a fall off, and now I managed to do the bend for the part. And this is really common. Like, so if you want to do if you want to do a pattern, you do a pattern on your plate, and then you bend it later after the pattern is done. So I'm doing this part where that wristband comes into and connects with the watch body. I was trying to figure out the shape and design of it. And here I was thinking maybe I should simplify the whole object and only have that much, but then kind of looked too simple in my taste. So I decided that no. But I did cut out excessive parts, I think, here. Using Postal again to squash that bit and to check out how it looks. That didn't look any good, so dropped it. So now I just wanted to get that shape, taper in shape, and I used the pose tool, pushed it out, and then scale it down. And I was actually really happy with the shape. This one shape that I haven't touched at all. So you can see here I'm using the pose tool to move stuff around. To be honest, I don't think I move pose tool enough. I see other people doing it a lot more than I do, and definitely a really powerful feature. I'm like a super Voxel reliant guy. I don't remember. Oh yeah, now I'm doing the wristband. So I reused some of the parts I already had, made them much bigger, They when they do that, they lose the uniformity. Then I have to make them uniform if you right click on the layer, and I cut everything out using the just cut off tool, and then I just wanted to cut the middle part as well. And you see here I'm doing this tapering shape on purpose, so it thickens at the bottom and then tapers up. And I didn't really do the proper wristband. I just didn't think I wanted to be rational about it, and just if I'm not going to actually, show the wristband and the body design, the most important thing of the whole thing. Why do you need it? Why do you need to do it? And also because it, this video is kind of long enough already. So if I spend another hour doing a wristband properly, uh, that wouldn't be too much fun. Okay, here what I'm doing right now is the wrist or watch. How do you call it? I actually don't know how you call it. Adjustment wheel, adjustment wheel, time wheel, right? So I'm using the four-sided symmetry, and then I thought, okay, kind of dumb. So I created an instance on the side. So I created a main model on my side, and then I am like you see, I'm using the radial symmetry, cutting that stuff out, and then hiding and hiding. So then I can rotate this piece and have my main wheel on the side, because then I can always go and change stuff, which I did multiple times. It took me some time to figure out where to place the wheels. So now I see here I'm cutting the stuff on the left, and it gets cut on the right. So originally I had like 3, but then I decided that, well, I only have like a minute and an hour control on that watch the most. So even 2 is kind of more than enough. And I left only 2. All right, so I'm applying some materials. So I applied polymer. Oh, actually, here I'm applying this new materials that came in the new versions of 3D Code, called 3D Pretty materials. And the cool thing about them, they're really vibrant. First of all, they're really bright. That's cool. But also they have this texture to them, which is, I'm not sure if it's a bump texture. I guess it's a bump texture that looks like that. I was even thinking it was like a special shader. It's been programmed like that. I think it's actually a special shader. And yeah, it gives you a nice texture. So I'm just trying to, okay, I'm doing holes for the glass. And you want, oh no, actually not doing holes. I was splitting the glass to get the little screws up. And I just applied the same bright red material just because it's so bright and juicy. Again, trying to do a 3D color render, but this just doesn't look good. Here I am. All right, so I'm doing this inside part here. And this is, again, this type of material, that particular 3D printing material, is something that's kind of used in the real watch. I'm not sure if I've seen it on some watch, but I think I did. So it has a bit of a pattern, this really settled pattern. It's amazing. So I decided to reuse a 3D printing material as my design material. Again, talking about the materials and how you can on the fly apply this amazing designs that are really close to the final like render. Here, I was thinking to do like a dial with all the numbers, or at least some kind of, I'll put some gemstones in those little things. However, when I put it on top, like this, and I just did the like objectify hidden, which gives you a really nice pattern. It's actually insanely good. Uh, the thing what happened is that it overlaid on the top of that industrial design I had on top, and it looked pretty bad. It looked like it was some kind of sea wheel, like steering wheel for the ship. It's like no longer like a sport watch, like um, a racing car watch, but some kind of sailor watch. I not even a good like sailor watch. I mean, like good yachtsman watch is looking pretty sick. Okay, so I decided to do this type of dials over there. And I was talking about those red little things, rectangular ones. And I wanted to do a bit more of a layer design. So right, so we have a little like redness coming through on the second layer. And I'm doing that um, minute. I don't know how I call this thing. Minute arrow. I hope it is. So here, I think I was trying to reuse that wheel just as a part. Right, so I did a split of that original adjustment wheel, and you can see if I do a split, it will get replicated across all of those guys, and you know, it's awesome. So I decided that the wristband was way too red, and I duplicated that and changed it. I could have kept it like that, like the backside would have been red, the outside black. I just decided to have the insert uh, like a little line along the wristband to be red. And again, I'm trying to get something out of the 3D color render. It doesn't work out. This was fun. This is where I did the Vox hide to get some kind of wristband design, and then I did unhide from the side, and I got a shape that I liked. And I was like, okay, that's it. So there are certain parts of the design I redid like 50 times. I don't know, like 20 times. And there are certain things that I just was happiest from the get go. And I think for you personally, just gonna, just comes with experience when you start to feel is it good or not. Good or not good. All right, so here I decided to do the little dial on the inside. So if you were watching, I put 24 at radial symmetry, 24 points. Means like 24 hours, which kind of doesn't really make sense actually. Now I think I should have put 12. Well, I mean 12 would have been like not many, so 24 worked out better. So it's like an orthodox watch, unorthodox. It shows you the full 24 hours in one round. And this is another. So I created this inner piece, more like a so it had a more of a multi-layered design. So see here, so just changing the placement of the adjustment wheels, time wheels, and I decided to put them diagonally like that. Looks kind of alright. So I'm trying to connect those parts together. Diagonal parts in the near the wristband. It's kind of tough to say connections. This part, right? So cut it out, trying to adjust it so it's a bit better. So you see here the thickness of that top bit was too thick, so I went on and cut out a lot. So now it matched the thickness of the other part. Oh, by the way, you just saw, I've seen a glimpse of the backside. The backside I didn't do at all. Again, trying to conserve my energy and just do the most important part of the watch. I had a little bit that was sticking out, so I used the move tool to put it back. So now I decided to combine the objects together, and then I smooth it out, so I have a nice transition in that part. All right, so I did a little cut and made that piece bigger and longer. Here I was trying to do the postal on the scale, and you can see it's not working out. I mean, I don't know why. It was some really crazy annoying bug. It wasn't allowing me to do uh, the pose scale, so I had to. Well, here I did the one cut, but then I redid it later on. Again, I'm trying to scale this up to get bigger, and it's just not working at all. So then I just used the move tool to push it out around. So I just wanted to fill that, to fill it up. I wanted to fill the hole with some material, metal. So it wasn't a see-through thing. And then I duplicated, instanced that other part and moved it across. Cut those little bits so that will give you an access to the wristband spring or whatever. Right, so we've got an arrow thing, and then oh yeah, I was changing the voxel count for that, and it unhid everything. So it was actually I was doing this a lot. So the delete hidden doesn't work. Delete hidden voxels doesn't work out inside the 3D code like completely. So every time when I want to delete something that's hidden, I have to turn that volume to surface and then bring it back to voxels. Surface voxels, surface voxels, surface voxels. I'm just trying to design something here. I think this was about the time I was getting a bit tired of the whole thing and I was getting lazy. These shapes were like really. I really didn't want to spend too much time on them. Right. So here I also wanted to do some work on the glass piece. So it's got like some more intricate shape to it. Got thickness in different parts. And I want that real thickness. So if you want that, when you do this stuff, you want it to be as real as possible. So you don't want glass penetrating the metal. It won't look the best on the render. I kind of did end up having some glass penetrating the metal, but if you're doing like really seriously, you want to make it for this stuff. You really want uh, to glass be as real as possible. So having a particular right type of holes uh, and everything. Now I think I should have done a rubberized rinse around those screws. It would have made a lot of sense. So they'll be less prone to shatter this glass. I mean, pretty easy. Pretty sure it's really easy to shatter. But say it's a sci-fi watch, you have some not a glass, but some kind of well, even today, I guess you can do that. Not really a glass, but some transparent, durable plastic, which doesn't sound expensive, but well, there you go. So I'm trying to recreate that screw that I had inside. It was way too thin. I'm making it, cutting everything out, and I ended up not really visible because there was a pretty strong refraction there from the glass, but I wasn't sure at the time. Right, trying to set up different materials, playing around just with different material types. And it's quite near into the end. I'm like increasing the density of everything so it fits that 6 million mark. And it turned out that my glass was penetrating the arrows, and I had to make them much thinner. And it turned out there was a little like leftover piece over there, so I was trying to cut it out. And then yeah, because the edges from voxels are always really jagged and pretty horrible, I'm smoothing everything a lot all the time, pressing F12, and even that doesn't always help that much. So yeah, if you look here closely, it's pretty melty design. It's like just don't look too close to it. Oh, here I wanted to type in my initials. So I'm using the text. The text function is a bit of a funny one. You have using the spline tool. You need to make them pretty big, and then you can drag it. And then I had my applied it to the layer and rotated it and placed it. I ended up placing it inside the glass, so it's like gold lettering inside the glass. And I had to rotate it in space. And there we go. That's the whole design. Then I rendered it in Keyshot. I don't cover that part. Well, it was kind of simple. If you watch any of my videos on Keyshot, you'll see that. So thank you for watching, and let's see you in the next video.